Well met, lords and ladies. Jacob Butter speaking, and welcome back to another episode of... So, as you can see, my headphones are now working again, so my ears are once more concealed as they normally are in these videos. So what happened this time? Right, the stream start 2 hours after it normally did? Well, birth time aside, it was mainly because I was trying to actually get my computer to actually work. At one point it just shut down and I couldn't get it to restart for like an hour, so that set everything back. And I thought to myself, wow, I mean, by this point, it's already so late. I'm basically starting at midnight. It's not even the day that I normally do these things. To which someone might be wondering, well, why didn't I decide to, just leave this be, to focus on something else, considering that I also was trying to write a song today, because I realized that February is the shortest month and I haven't done one yet, right after what the most successful song I've had in 14 months. Could focus on that, but no. Reason I'm doing this now is actually because shortly before that all happened, my computer just randomly shut down. I was having a conversation with my mum. She just gotten back home, so she was making like idle chit chats and things like that. And at one point, asked me the simple question of, "Are you going to be streaming tonight?" To which I look at her confused because, under most circumstances, the answer is yes. Unless I randomly decide not to, which I do sometimes, the usual response is absolutely, I'm going to do that. I'm always put off by verbally ask me to confirm like these things that usually are going to happen anyway. That's always something that I'm confused by when it happens in the moment. But she was just catching up. Problem is that locked me into a bit of a situation. Because it meant that if I didn't stream tonight, I would have unintentionally lied to my own mother. So, with that in mind, welcome to, a short stream, but it also kind of worked out because the stars sort of aligned because of the shifting around from different reasons of all different requests I've had. Yeah, they're all still on cooldown time, so I kind of had like this bit of a window here to do something that I was intending to get back to, which I guess was also a request, I suppose, from Tamsin herself, to start with to catch up with the 4 videos that she had uploaded since I last checked our channel, 2 of which were covered last time. So here's the other 2, the new season and also new series entirely. That's how I've divided them up. Unfortunately, by the way, before we go into this, I don't know what that acronym means. I recognize your username, so I'm glad that the advice was helpful. Don't remember the series, unfortunately. But yeah, these series, I suppose, one of them we'll remember. This is the one we're doing now. First of all, Treat Pop's Adventures, Season 2, Episode 1. This one is the latest full episode that Tamsin has released. And the reason I'm starting with that one first is because I thought the new series would be nice to round things off, because it's been a while since Tamsin has made a new series. It's a while since the video was posted as well, because I'm very late to this. But, like I said, it's all... The theme for tonight is better late than never, I suppose. So I guess with that, let's check in with the crew that we're familiar with to some degree, that was never... that never had the promise of more people, so we never anticipated that to actually occur. So let's see. Let's keep it nice and simple, and possibly a little bit more refined. The scriptwriter just arrived, I think. So let's see what the difference is. Without further ado, on with the review. I think this is a new intro. Oh, definitely. Yeah, because Trisha, Tracy, and Trollmaker. I don't remember Trisha and Tracy being mentioned at all, actually. So yeah, they might be new entirely. Or just forgotten. Okay, Alright. Hi, I'm Tamsin, and I'm a British pop. It's a great responsibility to be a British pop, but you know who loves being pop? I do. Okay. I'm guessing, presuming that if I saw one of these videos, this video is just a preview. Oh. Oh, great. Okay. Well, hold on a second. Is that? Did it say? Oh, yeah, it says official preview. Oh, okay. Well, oh well, never mind then. I guess I'll I guess I'll go straight. Because there's no point if it's a preview for a video. There's no. I'm not gonna watch that before the full thing comes out because what's the point? I'll have just seen like half of it. So yeah, we're gonna wait for that one. I thought there were several of them, but oh well. Made a background for the second video. Okay, well I guess let's watch the second video, and I'll change the title later to just the YouTube heroes. So welcome VOD watchers, if anyone's confused. Oh, the Chronicles of AJ and Friends. Okay, yes. Okay, now I remember that one. Yes, because I'm pretty sure that was one I was quite confused about at first. So yeah, episode 4 was released that. Well, again, depending on like how far I got, I wouldn't skip to episode 4. Assuming that I only got to like I think I got like episodes 1 or 2 or something like that. So I think I have to do like episodes 3, probably 3 and 4 in one go. I always go in chronological order with series, so I'm not going to skip to the last one. Unless I've already done that, in which case, I don't know. Again, it's been a while. Sorry, I do a lot of these, so don't take it personally. It's not meant to be. All right. On to something new here. The YouTube Heroes. The first series, I think, that's not branded under the Pops umbrella from Tamsin, actually. So again, very intrigued by it. For real this time, without further ado, on with the review.
A long time ago,
oh, hold on, whoa, hold on a second. Wait, voice acting? I've got to turn this up a little bit. I shouldn't have to this extent, by the way. This is very quiet voice acting, but I appreciate it nonetheless. All right, here we go.
A long time ago, a beautiful stone was found underground by an exploration team.
Okay, already the text I think is, I don't know if this is like my video. Someone please go like check in the actual video itself because I've this might be a thing with StreamYard delay. Is the text out of sync with the narration that's being presented? Because because sometimes I get like a gap between these things, but from my perspective, but that was a pretty large gap, I think.
The stone would gift magical.
Oh, now it's fine again. I'm just delusional. Okay.
Abilities to those it found pure-hearted, and was thus dubbed the Angel Stone.
This is remarkably similar to how the Life of True Pop and Trust Pop started with them just stumbling across the rings on the middle of the street. So this might be retreading old territory for Tamsin.
The stone was studied and was found out that it could not handle negative energy until one day.
That implies that one day someone shoved negative energy into the stone by force. I wouldn't put it past a scientist team to do that, to be honest, but okay. This is the voice of Koi, a friend of Tamsin. Well, Koi, congrats on being, I guess, the only voice actor to have made it through Tamsin's pipeline, because some of us did, audition for several other parts in the past for Tamsin, but they haven't seen the light of day yet. I only wish that I could hear you better, but I appreciate you being here. They also go by Mr. Evil. Oh, well, in that case, you could have gone with like a way more villainous portrayal than this. Yeah, this is I'll say the voice acting of this is very, very, monotone to an extent I don't think it's supposed to be. Like, you can sometimes do a monotone voice for a character, and that's the point of it. Usually, I wouldn't say this is a good thing for narration, because you're supposed to invite someone in with narration, and this doesn't invite anyone, really. It just sounds like somebody is being forced to read something in front of a class at school. Except for it's actually way better pronounced at the very least, because people aren't stumbling on words they haven't seen before. So it has that at least. The problem also with this is that it's so quiet. Even if the monotone delivery, weren't as monotone as it is, it's still very hard to hear. You know, it's almost like doing like an ASMR portrayal or something. I'm recording this under protest. I have to do this very quietly because it's nighttime. It's probably best if I do this during the day so I actually, so I don't have a risk of disturbing people if they're asleep. This happens in a lot of projects. It's usually fairly obvious when it does. So yeah. Not the best start, unfortunately, but I appreciate the attempt at having some voice acting in here. Wow, the whiplash. Hold on a second. Let me go back and rewind that just because I've got time here. All right. Okay. Let's match the energy of the performance. There's no scoring. It's all very mellow right now. Okay. Alvin I don't recognize. Wow, there's a whole rogues gallery here. I mean, obviously Elizabeth and Tamsin are both, fairly obvious additions, but wow, I was not expecting more than like 3 named characters in this intro. Okay. All right, this I can get behind. Yeah, see Alvin, other friend, that's fair. I think this is still part of the intro. Not even the actual YouTube logo. Would have been a cool detail, I think, for the logo to have either like the black or the white within the red of YouTube's branding, specifically like the YouTube heroes that way. But I don't know. And the establishing shot going into the window, always a favorite of mine. I've done it multiple times. Usually I let the shot like pan over for a bit longer, but I like that it's there again. This one, however, you've got to fade up these things at the same time. This is not, again, if it's a pre-rendered, you wouldn't have this transparency issue because that only comes in when the fadings are out of sync with each other. So either sync up the fades or pre-render stuff so it all fades in at once.
What time is it?
Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah, I did forget. I see Tamsin herself did send me a video like ages ago, I think. Of like a demonstration of her voice acting at one point. I don't think that saw the light of day really because it was also improvised. You could tell that the dialogue was done just by her, and then it was like transcribed later rather than the other way around.
It's 8 a.m. I better get ready for school.
I can't say that Tamsin is exactly super expressive herself, but there's definitely a marketable improvement here. There's like an actual energy behind the performance, like somewhat of a panic. And you could say the character's just woken up, so they're not super, they're not gonna be like, I'm late for school or anything like that, like super, like going to that extreme just yet. So, it works so far. And it's way better than her improvised dialogue from the previous attempts. I'm glad she's scripting now.
What in the UK is that? Meh, it's just...
Okay, maybe sometimes the scripting is still,
the win.
Hello? Hey, down here.
Okay, again, pre-rendering issue, because you can tell that this is, that these characters are green screened down, and if you're panning over with panning, it's even more obvious when you don't pre-render things. The fade-ins, okay, you can maybe excuse that. We pause a lot on Gacha review, so it's oh well, I pause because I'm in control of it, but I pause a lot on Gacha review. So I guess I guess a lot of these like frame by frame issues are probably not as obvious as they would be in reality. Honestly, I'll concede on that. But when it comes to panning, that is where it becomes blatant when something isn't synced up with the scene, because you have to pan over to this over with the same effect twice, and it has to be again frame perfect and time perfect. Those mean the same thing. That has to be frame perfect. Otherwise you end up with a character who floats around for a couple of seconds or sinks down afterwards or appears from underneath the frame and blends through the floor like this cat did. And then of course there's the layers are synced up either because the background appeared yet again after they did. but this time it's just like a full like appearance. It wasn't like a fade in, you know, still fairly obvious. Because they're clearly like on some sort of green screen background together, and the custom background done by Ghost Kitty, apparently. Very nicely so, of course. Didn't know was the thing you was interested in doing, Ghost Kitty. Fair enough. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, but so it's fairly telegraphed when that happens. It's basically, yeah. All right.
Oh my gotcha. It's
Okay, another thing is that if you're gonna do like an effect like that, I would suggest having "oh my" and "gotcha" be separate captions along with like the video effect itself. You know, because there's something with Alpha Witch Academy that it's a little bit difficult to do for me because when I tried this, because you know the narrator feature kind of works like this, but basically it's a more evolved form of like how I try to you know, separate whatever characters that like whether characters like change either poses or expressions or something changes in their interactions so that they can so I can make the talking more dynamic because it's a non-voice acted series. Also, as a scripting technique, what I did in Alpha Witch Academy is I actually made all of those things like separate lines. So even if the line was still continuing, I could put them separately so I could copy paste them into Gacha Club when I was making the captions. That part's optional, but it helps. But yeah, like the point is, you know, sometimes you've got to split this up for emphasis because otherwise, if it gets too far along in the dialogue for certain scenes, especially when a surprise is coming up, it can sometimes ruin it for people. It's the equivalent of if you're watching if you're watching a football match, but your sound is off and listening to the radio commentary that is slightly ahead. So you get everything before like it without the slight delay that the TV normally has. And I say that because that actually happened one time. People don't know, Spanish football commentators are by and large way more entertaining than English ones. You know, the English ones are, you know, like very stat focused, they're very professional, you know. The Spanish ones get into it on like almost the same level as the crowd. They sometimes do like bits. There's a whole thing behind that. And one time we were staying at a property that my dad's cousin has, or I think it is. Yeah, it's like a beach house of some kind that she has. We were staying there in Valencia, and because it was my dad's cousin that owned the place, her TV settings were set to English, which was, you know, a disparity for us for various reasons. And also, this is before I want to say it's before we knew that you could change the language settings on a TV depending on certain channels. This might have affected football depending on broadcasting. I don't know. But yeah, like, or maybe it was before we found out. Maybe it was before, like, you know, we the kids found out, because if we did that, it would defeat the purpose of watching TV in Spanish for us. Even though by that point we're so accustomed to it that watching a single episode of Code Lyoko in English was already enough to, you know, to take us out of it. Like, what is happening? These characters do not sound like the way we used to. Oh my. But yeah, to round it back up again, so the TV commentary was set to English for football, or I guess like it got like English channels, whatever it might have been. I'm not sure. But because again, you know, we were in Spain, so you know, we decided to. But so my dad decided to put on a to put on the radio to hear the Spanish commentators. But that resulted in every time they celebrated like an event that actually happened, that we heard it beforehand. It's kind of like that, but I guess the captioned equivalent is like if the subtitles on the TV were ahead rather than I guess the radio is be more apt example. Anyway, I'm done yapping about this.
It's a cat. I love cats.
Okay, this is where I would say amp up the excitement a little bit, rather like, it's a cat. I love cats. It sounds a little bit cultish, let's say. if you don't you know, exclaim a bit more, I think.
What's your name?
My name is Sparkles, and I'm your spirit animal.
My spirit animal?
before anyone complains about the use of the term spirit animal and compares it to to any sort of folklore, let it be known the Norse did it first. They're mostly dead. So
Hey,
yeah.
this is no time for games. It's really serious.
Oh, sorry.
Our world is in
I will say this is always like every animal mascot introduction in a Magical Girl series.
danger. We must defeat this new villain.
What is this villain's name?
I don't.
By the way, I love the evolution of this. Apparently, yeah. There you go. Ghost Kitty adjusted the design of Sparkles the cat here with kind of another set of eyes to look it over. I point this out because I do like how it represents like an evolution, not just for Tamsin, but also for Ghost Kitty specifically. We are a far cry from the days of Fluffy, let's say. So, a new cat design that, yes, is rather humanoid, but that is infinitely preferable in gacha terms, let's say, We'll give this one to the furries. They can have this one.
Remember, I lost my memory.
Wait, so you're telling me you lost your memory
This is all very serious. I also don't know what's happening.
and you can't remember this?
By the way, I like this frame of just Tamsin. But yeah, fair enough. I can't complain about like frames of someone's of self. I recently, we recently framed up a picture of me as Freddy Venus from the pantomime I was in.
This villain's name?
Yes, he cursed me and now I can't remember.
Don't worry, we'll find this villain and stop him once and for all.
Once and for all implies that several things have happened beforehand, or like you've had like other, encounters where they weren't stopped permanently. This is your first time dealing with this potential entity, as far as you know. Although knowing Tamsin is probably going to repeat offender, but I don't know.
Sounds good to me.
Alice, gives me the current location of the YouTube heroes. Quickest routes, no freeways.
Good morning, Dr. Renard. Would you like today's?
Now is not the time, Alice. Compute my answer.
Why do you think?
Especially this day and age, I really love whenever anyone like voices an AI rather than letting an AI voice themselves. That's just some delicious irony that I really appreciate. Yeah. Also, Missing Kill 1 versus but there's all of these people. When were these auditions done? I really should have got in on this. Throw my hat in.
I would tell you that. Do you think I know where everyone is all the time?
Also, another thing about these captions that I forgot to mention, the pause thing and the monotone laugh, they don't need to be included. A pause particularly will be, well, first of all, an excuse to do a different line of a caption, but also the monotone laugh would be like telegraphed just by generally what's going on. You don't need that.
I do, but I don't feel like telling you.
Alice, I do not have time for this. Alice?
Oh. Synced up on the screen and everything? Very nice.
I updated you a week ago, you lousy scrap of metal. Ugh, I have to do everything myself nowadays. Ugh, why is it so hard to come up with?
This reminds me of Professor Higgins versus Alexa. The year is 2018 and it can't even self-destruct. Anyway.
A single good idea these days. Maybe I rely on Alice too much. What about using a disguise to find them? That's a brilliant idea. Oh, I knew I could count on your assistance.
Oh, okay. Wow. Don't know what happened there. There's a banana floor on the ground.
The high street shall be mine.
You know what thing about time? Oh, whoa, the music just swelled up there. Okay, was the music quiet on purpose to hear the voice actors? If so, I suggest just keeping the music at the same volume rather than increasing it, especially that dramatically. If you're gonna increase the volume at all, fade it up. But even then, I don't suggest it because it kind of takes people out of it. Those jump cuts were almost like in time with like that boom, boom as he was getting up. I don't know if that was deliberate or not. Okay. I should expect this one. There are 3 minutes left. I do like how Ghost Kid was giving us credits for everyone and the video, which I will say is a huge step for Tamsin, putting actual credits into something without being prompted. Okay, the official ones, yes. There we go. Oh, the narrator wasn't credited. Now I think about it. Okay. Okay, well, confusion and stuff aside, after that was it. That was the YouTube heroes. And I guess there is one thing that is kind of missing from this video. The YouTube heroes. I mean, we have Tamsin's introduction to Proceedings, but we already know she's already a hero. Assuming that this isn't, an alternate universe and that's a different Tamsin that hasn't become a hero just yet, we have a little bit of the narration in the opening there, which incidentally I would have also probably added some sort of visuals over the top of if it's going to be that important. Maybe at least like a depiction of the stone, some silhouettes here or there, just something visual to have us have us in charge while you have the exposition that is important to have at the beginning. Provided you weren't going to address it later on in the video anyway. But yeah, so we had Tamsin, who we know is already a hero, unless it's a new Tamsin. She was pretty willing to step into the fray immediately, implying she already has her powers from the other other videos. But the other actual new characters that are advertised don't appear in this, which is the second time a Tamsin series has done that trick, by the way. In the British pops, I keep mentioning how it took 6 or 7 episodes. Yes, funny, haha. Before we actually got the rest of the British pops involved in the in the series at all. They didn't appear. They were just advertised in the intro. And the fact that none of them were in this video worries me, because it means that Tamsin hasn't learnt from that mistake from the British pops that I kept telegraphing. Even as the episodes were coming out and I was reviewing them, I kept on saying to her that she should, introduce the other British pops in a series called The British Pops. Well, here I'm going to say it again. Introduce the YouTube heroes as quickly as you can in the show called The YouTube Heroes. At least one of them. There's some really great designs in there. Surely while designing the characters, you had some sense of the backstory of them, or how they're going to, or what the kind of what their place in the world is at the moment. Unless they were designed in a vacuum and not included later. I don't know. Also, if this is a separate universe from the pops, Tamsin was way too quick to jump into the fray in this case. I mean, there aren't many heroes that just immediately oh, yeah, stalking cat, you want me to become a hero? Well, golly gee, sign me up. At least there'd be some sometimes when someone's got to think about it, be yeah, this is not a good idea. No, how about nah. Okay. As a scriptwriter confirm we see the heroes. I mean, okay, fair enough. Hopefully that will happen sometime soon. I mean, if it takes a couple episodes to introduce all of them, I get it, because there's a huge rogues gallery in there. So yeah, I mean, especially if the videos are going to be 3 minutes long each, depending on, well, I don't know. For Tamsin, they can be 3 to 10 minutes on average, I think, depending on which video is in question. Presuming it's that length, you probably won't have time to do all of them in all at once, basically, unless they're, introduced in action and we get to know them a bit later on. Sort of the Kesseru technique, I suppose, as have everyone be there more or less by episode 2, and then they get more of the spotlight going later on, which works just fine. I don't know. Either way, hopefully that gets done soon, because especially but it's a shame that's happening in this episode, because the first episode of a series is very important. to set up the story, which Tamsin does, do at least, through exposition, but still does something. To introduce the stakes in the conflict, which does happen, but also to meet and understand the main characters. Those are like the mission statements in episode 1 of anything. And this one is, at least I will say, 2 for 3. Which a 3.5 minutes time is not that bad, but, the number 3 one I was concerned about because, again, repeated offense from Tamsin, at least in that sense. And I guess if Ghost didn't work on the script for this at all, then it's actually pretty well put together. I mean, all things considered, I suppose. I mean, the humor was present. There weren't that many spelling mistakes. It was what little progression was there was fairly linear. So, I mean, yeah, it's I think it probably is actually, no. I don't know. I was gonna say it's fairly average. I would say it's probably so somewhere like in the top new series introductions from Tamsin, but that's not saying too much when we've seen the alternatives. It too has 19 scenes. Many is my fault, so it's taking a while. I mean, that's fair. This video is a few months old, I think, because again, I'm late to this. I don't mind if it takes a while. It's as I kept on saying with AFMAU's content, doesn't matter if it takes a while. If it exists eventually, and we get to see it at some point in our lifetimes, that's all I care about. Because yeah, I am curious for the rest of it, but definitely willing to wait in order to do so. Especially with everything that has happened right now. I've got stuff to deal with, and I don't know if we'll do an emergency song tomorrow, or if we'll just do like an impromptu music video of some kind. We shall see. But for now, please leave a like or dislike because your opinion matters. And subscribe if you've done so already. And on that note, until next time, farewell.